Hey there, Fletcher from All Things Overlanding here, and today I'm going to be talking about this new piece of my power build that I'm getting ready to do on my 2023 Nissan Frontier. I'm going to go to an enclosed cab that's going to give me a lot more secure, weatherproof storage where I can do stuff with my electrical system, and a big part of that is going to be this Litime 3000 watt inverter. I'm going to kind of walk you through all the features of this. It does more than just change DC power to AC power, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to show you all the features of this thing, and I'm going to talk about why I added this to my setup and what it's going to do for me when I'm out in the woods and I'm camping or doing long-term overlanding stuff. So if you want to learn more about the Litime 3000 watt inverter, all the features and everything, and kind of my use case for it, stay tuned.
Understand where it came from, but you got it, my got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you give to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys, so as I mentioned in the intro today, I'm talking about this Litime 3000 watt inverter. Now, this thing is a pure sine wave inverter, which is what you want to make sure that you're getting good, clean power. It can also be used as a home backup, and it does have the ability to smartly switch from grid power to battery power. So if you wanted to use this in your home as a battery backup, that is an option. That isn't going to be my intended use because I am a camper overlander, right? So I've got a dual battery setup on my truck. So I plan to, when I enclose this in a cap, I plan to permanently mount this inverter kind of back behind the cab there and plug it into my 400 amp hours worth of batteries that I'm going to have. And then this thing is going to be my inverter to, you know, charge things like my e-bike, to charge my drone batteries, anything that requires AC power. If I wanted to run, you know, blenders or appliances or anything like that, you could run that off of this big inverter. Something like that would be definitely possible. So again, you could use this for like home backup, emergency preparedness stuff. I'm not going to go super deep on that stuff, just FYI. I'm going to talk more about the vehicular applications of it. But let's start by talking a little bit about how simple and easy it is to hook up. You know, for now, just to show you guys this video, I brought one of my 200 amp hour batteries, my Vatra heated battery back here. I have another 200 that is in my truck currently mounted. And again, those two combined are going to go to this. And you do get two sets of cords here, a positive and a negative. But just for testing's sake today, I hooked up one of each just to kind of show you the display and everything and kind of how this works. So starting here, it's going to show you your current voltage and the ambient temperature. This is just kind of your battery state of charge. Now, again, this thing's been sitting in my office for like, I don't know, 8 months now, waiting on this cap to come so that I can finish up this setup. So it hasn't been charged or anything like that. Again, it's just for testing purposes, but this shows you your conversion. So we are going to 120 volt, and then this shows output, which right now I don't have anything hooked up to it, so there is no output. But again, as far as hooking the thing up, it's very, very simple. These are actually, you could turn these by hand here, and you could pull this plastic cover off, but I like that it secures the cord in there and then covers everything up so you don't have any, you know, chance of short circuit or anything like that. So there's your positive, and then behind it is your negative. Now, this does have built-in fans that will automatically turn on if it starts to sense that it's getting hot. That's great for me because, again, this is going to be enclosed in this cap. So if it is like summertime or, you know, warmer temperatures and it's warm inside the cap and I need to charge things or run things, it's nice that that thing's going to manage cooling itself down and keeping itself at the right temp. So now when we come around to the other side here, you can see there is an on-off switch, which I really like because basically then it allows you to hook up to the battery and then actually, you know, manually turn the inverter on and off with the push of a button, which is pretty cool. Also, when I'm not using it, right, like this is going to be in my truck 24/7, but when I'm just, you know, driving around at home and not actually out camping, I can turn this off just so that I'm not burning up the display and kind of, you know, putting unnecessary wear and tear on it. Now, it is going to show you, you know, with these lights that you got power on. If there was a fault, it would show you the fault. Another thing with this screen is any fault error code is going to pop up right here in this empty spot. So if you did ever get an error code, that's where to look for it. And then you could look here in the manual that they provide to sort of troubleshoot. Now, it is really nice. They give you a bunch of pictures and nice instructions for how to hook this up. So another thing to mention is that this thing is compatible with pretty much every type of battery. So whether you have an AGM or a LiFePO 4 like I do, this thing is able to adjust and basically automatically detect what that is. And it can function with pretty much anything that you plug it into. It'll figure it out. It'll know what your battery status is at, and then it will manage itself. Now, coming around here to this end, you're going to notice this remote control port, and this is pretty cool. So when I hook this up, right, again, as I mentioned, it's going to be all the way back there at the back, but they provide you with this remote button, basically with this cable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run that cable all the way from the back where the inverter is mounted, because I don't want to climb back there and turn it on and off every time, right? I'm going to run it around the cap and then around here to the side. And then I plan to mount this little remote control somewhere like here, right? So somewhere towards the back of the truck, or maybe inside of the cap or something up here. But then what I can do is I could have all my stuff pre-wired. So for instance, I may have, you know, like my e-bike cord plugged into this end of the inverter, and then the cord run all the way, let's say, to the end back here where I can just grab it. And I can hit the, you know, the remote button over here, turn on the inverter. It'll turn on the display and everything, so I can kind of see that. And then that will kick on the power to whatever I need to charge. So maybe my drone battery cord is back here. Maybe my e-bike battery cord is back here. But so that's just going to be awesome to be able to not have to climb into the back of the truck every time I want to use this, hit the remote button, turn it on, have all my charging cords basically like secured in place via maybe some like rubber grommets or something like that, something to like a little cord holder or something. So it's right here, and then I can just hook up whatever I need to and start powering it and recharging it. Now, one thing to mention is that this cable is 23 feet long. So just FYI, that should give me plenty of cable to get, you know, all the way from the back and even run it really cleanly, however I want, up and around everything through the cap to get it where I want to mount my switch. So just FYI, that is 23 feet. It does also come with like these screws and things. So depending on where you're mounting it, they recommend either a horizontal mounting like this or a vertical mounting, but not sideways. So I plan to mount mine just like this so that it's really easy, even if this is, you know, in the back of the truck back there, for me to see this display. And then again, I'm just going to permanently sort of plug in my stuff that I need, from drone batteries to e-bike to whatever I'm going to power off my inverter, and then run those cables up here to where I can access them at the back of the truck. As you would expect, this thing also is loaded with protection features, so things like overheat, overcharge, undercharge. It's going to keep track of everything, and it's going to basically protect itself and the battery at all costs, which is great. All right, guys, so as you saw, that was the Litime 3000 watt inverter. This thing is a monster, right? It's huge. It does a ton of work. You can convert power and power almost anything off of this thing. So if you have e-bikes that you need to charge, if you've got, you know, power banks that you want to charge up, if you've got, you know, anything that you need to charge that's going to take a lot of power, anything AC that you want to run, this thing gives you just a ton of options for things that you can power with it. So again, this is going to go with my 400 watts worth of lithium batteries that I'm going to have in the back of the truck. So I'm going to have, between the solar and that, just a ton of essentially unlimited power. So I'm really, really excited about that, and I'm really excited to be able to charge all the stuff I want in the future when I finish this build on the back of the truck. So if you want to learn more about the build of the truck, I'll put a card up here to the walk around of the truck the way that it is right now. Again, in the near future, in the next 6 months or so, I'm going to be completely revamping the back. I'm changing the suspension, going to a cap, changing up pretty much everything on the back of this truck, and there will be a lot of content around that. So if you want to see that, definitely click that subscribe button down below so you don't miss anything. So in the description down below will be a link to this thing. So again, if you want to get it, definitely check that out. There's also a link to all my other social channels. So wherever you want to come hang out, I'd love to have you. There's also a join button below this video. That's just kind of a passive way to support the channel, and it also gets you early access to the videos and the podcasts that I do every week, plus some other perks. So if you want to be a part of that, click on that join button down below to join up. If you want a more active way to be involved with all things overlanding, there's a link in the description to my Patreon page where we have a 24/7 Discord. We do a once-a-month Zoom call to hang out, and we do 1 or 2 trips a year to meet up in person. So if you want to be more involved with all things overlanding, check that out. And then last but not least, there is a link to the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group. Now, this is a totally free group to join. Over 20,000 awesome members, but unlike a lot of the big groups, no bullying or anything like that. Everybody just wants to help each other get into overlanding and enjoy themselves more. So if that sounds good to you, check that out. But again, thanks so much for watching. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, post up in the comments down below, and I will do everything I can to get you an answer. And again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.